The intergalactic cadet academy floated, like a silent jewel in orbit above the silver moon of Rallus Prime. It was a place where the best and brightest from hundreds of star systems came to train. From shimmering-skinned Andorians to four-eyed Ulics, students of every species walked its shining halls with pride and purpose. And today, a new name was whispered through the academy corridors. Yerel. No one had seen one before, not in person. The Ural were a secretive species, rarely leaving their home world. They spoke through emotions, through color, through scent. Some said they could smell your thoughts. Others called them mind thieves. But no one really knew the truth. That morning, when the new students gathered in the main hall, all eyes turned. As the doors opened, she stepped in slowly. Her skin was a soft, glowing violet. Her eyes shimmered like glass. Her hair floated around her head, like smoke in water. And then came the scent. It was thick, strange, almost like flowers mixed with something older, something raw. Heads turned. Students frowned. A few covered their noses. Quiet murmurs rippled through the crowd. What is that smell? Is it poison? I think it's coming from her. The girl stood silently, her eyes cast downward. She clutched her bag tightly. Her fingers trembled. One by one, seats near her emptied. Some moved away politely. Others made no effort to hide their disgust by the time orientation began. She sat completely alone. Even the instructor paused for a second when walking past her, but he continued, pretending nothing had happened. That was when he arrived. Ethan Walker, a human cadet from Earth. Brown-haired, calm eyes. He had transferred in late due to a shuttle delay, with a datapad in one hand and a satchel over his shoulder. He scanned the room for an open seat. He saw the empty space beside her, the only one not taken. Without hesitation, he walked over and sat down. The entire hall went silent for a moment. The girl didn't look up. She barely breathed. She expected him to move like the others, to whisper, to judge, but he didn't. He sat comfortably, calmly, like he belonged there. He didn't flinch. Instead, he took a deep breath, a deep, slow breath. His eyes widened for a second, then softened. He smiled. It smells like Earth, like home. The alien girl's head turned, slowly toward him. Her eyes, filled with confusion and shock, locked with his. No one had said anything kind to her. Not since she arrived. Not ever since she stepped off the shuttle. Her people had warned her this would happen, that others would not understand her, that her scent would be rejected. But he didn't reject her. He called it home. She blinked. Once, twice. Her lips parted, but no words came around them. Students whispered again, confused, curious. Why wasn't he reacting like everyone else? Ethan turned slightly, ignoring the stares. He offered her a small nod. I'm Ethan, from Earth. You can sit near me if you want. She didn't respond, not with words. But something changed. A faint glow shimmered in the air around her, like a breath of warm light. It was subtle, gentle, a silent thank you in her own language. Ethan didn't need a translator to understand. He felt it. For the rest of the orientation, they sat together, still quiet, but something had connected between them, something unspoken. A bond had begun to form by the end of the session. Others were still avoiding her, still whispering. But Ethan stayed by her side. He stood when she stood. He walked when she walked. And as they left the hall together, the mystery only deepened. Why? Did her scent remind him of Earth? Why did it feel like home? She came from a world no human had ever visited. Yet, something about her presence pulled at his memories, pulled at his heart. The answers would come, but not today. Today began with whispers, with judgment, with fear, but it ended with a spark, a quiet spark, that would one day set stars on fire. The Academy sky gardens were quiet at night. Glass domes stretched above the trees. revealing the galaxy like a river of stars. It was the only place Ethan Walker could go to think. The only place where the whispers of the students didn't follow him. But tonight, he wasn't alone. She was there, sitting silently on the edge of the garden fountain. The alien girl stared up at the stars. Her violet skin shimmered under the soft glow of the artificial moonlight. The gentle mist of her scent drifted in the air, strange and familiar all at once. Ethan stepped closer. "You always come here alone?" he asked softly. She didn't answer right away. Just looked at him from the corner of her eye. "No one follows me," she said finally, "except you." He smiled. "And does that bother you?" She paused. No. Her name, he had learned earlier, was Syria, a name as soft as her voice, as delicate as her presence. But there was strength behind her eyes, a quiet kind of pain, like someone who had carried silence too long. "I wasn't lying before," Ethan said. "Your scent. It really does remind me of Earth." She turned, to face him fully now, her gaze sharper. "But how?" "My body creates scent from memory, from emotion. I only absorbed yours once, when you passed by me. That moment, in the corridor, I was scared. I took a part of your memory. I didn't mean to." Ethan blinked. "You copied my memory." Syria nodded. "I thought it would make you feel safe around me, that maybe, if I smelled like something familiar, you wouldn't fear me like the others do." Her voice cracked. "I was wrong." Ethan sat beside her, slowly. The memory came back to him now. That one moment they passed each other before orientation. Just a flash. A scent of pine trees, old books, wind chimes, and the faint, sweet smell of something he hadn't thought of in years. His mother's perfume. "I know exactly what it is," he said. "You copied a moment from my life, a very old one." He leaned forward, his elbows resting on his knees. "There was this flower. Grew wild near our house in the mountains of Colorado. My mom used to pick it, crush it into oil, and use it as perfume. It was soft, gentle, like safety in a bottle." He paused. "She died when I was 10. Syria looked at him carefully, her eyes wide and unreadable. "I haven't smelled it in years, not once, until you." Silence settled between them like snowfall. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. "You didn't," he said. "You gave me something I didn't even know I missed." A small breeze drifted through the garden. Her scent danced with it. Not sharp, not overwhelming, just peaceful. "Your people," Ethan said. "They really communicate through scent. We feel through it. It's how we share emotion, connection, language too. But this is deeper, stronger. Do you ever regret coming here?" She looked up again at the stars. "Every second," she said quietly. "But I had to try." "Why?" Syria turned back to him. "Because I didn't want to be alone anymore." Ethan felt something stir in his chest. She wasn't just different. She wasn't just an alien. She was someone who had spent her whole life locked behind her own biology. Behind walls others couldn't see, couldn't smell, couldn't understand until now. "You're not alone anymore," he said. Syria didn't speak, but a soft glow bloomed around her again. A color he hadn't seen before. Warm, golden, like sunrise. She stood, hesitating for a moment, then held out her hand. "Walk with me," she asked. He took it. Her hand was cool, soft, but the warmth he felt wasn't physical. It was something else. As they walked through the glowing trees, the academy behind them faded into the distance. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if they, too, were watching. And for the first time since they met, the silence between them wasn't awkward. It was safe. It was healing. But not everyone would accept their connection. Not everyone would understand it. And something darker was already beginning to stir. Far from the academy, beyond the outer moons, someone had noticed the Ural girl's presence on Earth. Territory. And not everyone wanted peace between humans and her kind. It had been 2 weeks since Syria arrived at the academy. 2 weeks since Ethan sat beside her when no one else would. In that short time, the academy had not changed. But something inside Syria had. Every morning, students still avoided her in the mess hall. They still left empty seats near her in class. She still heard the whispers behind her back. But now, there was one thing that made her feel less invisible. Ethan, he walked with her to every class, sat beside her during every lecture, shared quiet lunches under the star dome. He didn't talk much. He didn't need to. His presence said enough. But today, he asked her something no one had ever asked before. "Will you show me how it works?" he said. Syria tilted her head. "What do you mean?" "Your way of feeling, of remembering through scent. I want to understand it." She hesitated. Her fingers curled around the edge of her notebook. "No one has ever asked me that." "Then, let me be the first." They sat in the meditation chamber on the eastern wing of the academy. A quiet space filled with calming lights and low-frequency hums designed to soothe the mind. Few students used it. Tonight, it was theirs alone. Syria removed a small crystal vial from her satchel. It glowed faintly in the dim light. "This holds a memory," she explained. "But not just mine, yours too." Ethan looked confused. She continued, "When I copied your scent, I didn't just take smell. I took the emotional echo within it, the memory behind it. Your longing, your pain, your warmth." She opened the vial dot, and suddenly, the air changed. Ethan felt it before he even understood it. A breeze rushed past him, the scent of pine trees, old books, cold winter air, and laughter. His laughter, as a child, running through snow-covered woods. His mother chasing him, wrapping a scarf around his neck, her arms around him. Then firelight, crackling wood, a cup of hot cocoa, and the perfume. That flower, sweet, faint, and full of love. His eyes filled with tears. "How is this possible?" he whispered. Syria closed the vial gently. "It's not magic, it's biology. My people were born with it. We evolved to survive by feeling what others feel, by sharing emotion, by storing memory." Ethan looked at her, stunned. "But why does it hurt so much?" "Because it's real," she said. "You buried it deep inside. I just brought it to the surface." He sat in silence, wiping his eyes. Syria's voice softened. "When I first arrived, I thought if I used your memory, people would like me, that they'd recognize the scent, that I could blend in." She looked down, "But I failed. I made it worse." "You didn't fail," Ethan said. She looked up at him. "You were just misunderstood, and maybe too kind for a place that doesn't understand your kind of kindness." Syria's hands trembled slightly. "Do you know what it's like to carry everyone else's emotions? To walk into a room and feel everyone's fear before they even speak it? Every time I'm near others, it's like a storm, and all I want is silence." Ethan nodded slowly. "Silence, or peace?" She blinked. "No one's ever asked me that either." He reached out gently, placing his hand over hers. "Then let me ask you one more thing." Syria looked at him. "Dude, you want to feel something that's not fear? Not loneliness? Something real? Right now?" Her voice shook. "Yes." He closed his eyes, and remembered something new. Not sadness, not loss, but this moment, sitting beside her, feeling her hand in his, knowing she was not some strange creature from a distant world, but a girl who just wanted to belong. She gasped softly. "What is that?" she whispered. "A new memory," Ethan said, "for both of us." Her eyes filled with light, not just emotion, not just scent, but something unspoken, a bond, but outside the chamber, hidden behind data screens and silent alerts. A new danger stirred. Someone had detected an unusual neural link forming between a human and a Ural, something not seen in generations. And they were watching closely, because if this bond grew stronger, It could threaten the balance of power across the galaxy, and there were those who would do anything to stop it. By the third week, the Academy wasn't whispering anymore. They were shouting. The bond between Ethan and Syria had become impossible to ignore. No one else dared sit near her, but Ethan did. Every day, without hesitation, they trained together, studied together, walked through campus side by side, and that made people uncomfortable. "You're embarrassing humans," one cadet hissed at Ethan as he passed in the hall. "Are you under some kind of mind control?" asked another. "You do know what her species did during the Harrow conflict, right?" Ethan ignored them. He wasn't interested in the past. He was interested in the truth. And the truth was simple. Syria wasn't dangerous. She was beautiful. Not because of how she looked, but because of how she saw the world, because of how she listened, because of the way she made. Memories feel alive again. But not everyone believed that. The Academy board sent Ethan a warning, a formal message, cold, strict. "Your continued involvement with Cadet Syria, Urel, is affecting the cohesion of your unit. As a human representative, we expect your conduct to reflect interspecies neutrality and caution. We advise distance." He deleted the message. The next day, he found his locker tampered with, his uniform slashed, a small note left behind: "Stay away from her, before something worse happens." That night, he didn't go to the Sky Gardens. He didn't meet Syria in the common space. He stayed in his room, silent, trying to protect her, and she noticed. The next morning, she stood alone in the courtyard, her scent cold and muted, eyes empty. Her fingers clutched the edges of her coat, her face hidden behind her hair. Ethan watched from a distance, his heart pulled toward her, but his fear held him back. Syria turned slowly, and in that brief moment, their eyes met. She didn't need to speak. He could feel what she felt, abandoned, that afternoon. He tried to explain. He found her in the archive room, hidden between shelves of ancient star maps and scent-coated Ural scrolls. "I didn't stay away because of you," he said. "Then why?" she whispered. "I thought I was protecting you." Her voice trembled. "By pretending I don't exist. I didn't want to give them more reasons to hate you. They already hate me," she said. "But when you stopped looking at me, I started hating myself." Ethan's voice broke. "Please don't say that." "Why not? It's the truth. Your kindness was the only thing that made this place feel real. And now it's gone." Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. Instead, she turned away. "I'm leaving," she said. "What?" "I've applied for transfer to the outer colonies. Somewhere far, somewhere quiet." "No." Ethan stepped forward. "You can't. I will not make you suffer for choosing me. I did choose you," he said. "That's the problem." Her breath caught. "You matter to me, Syria. And not because of your scent, not because of what you are, but because you're the only one who ever made me feel seen." The words lingered in the air, heavy and true. But Syria shook her head slowly. "I'm tired of being a burden." Then she walked past him. He wanted to stop her. He wanted to scream, but he didn't. And the next morning, she was gone. Gone without a word, without a message, without a goodbye. Only a single vial left behind, sitting on his bunk, softly glowing. He picked it up, held it close, and, for a moment, the scent of her filled the room again. The sadness, the silence, the goodbye. His heart broke. But somewhere, deep in that memory, was also something else, something faint. Faint but clear. A message, not with words, not with sound, but scent. "Come find me." And he would, no matter where she went, no matter who tried to stop him. Ethan Walker had made his choice, and he would cross the stars to bring her back. The academy felt empty without her, even though the corridors were still crowded, even though instructors still lectured, even though cadets still trained in GOSSIPED. To Ethan, everything had gone silent. Syria was gone. Official records said she requested a transfer to the outer systems, a quiet research colony near the edge of mapped space. Remote, cold, forgotten by most. No transport logs, no coordinates, just a name, ASTERION-6. He had never heard of it, but he didn't care. He would find her, even if it meant breaking Academy rules, even if it meant losing everything. That night, Ethan stood at the edge of the launch bay, staring at the stars beyond the station windows. He held her memory vial tightly in his palm. The scent still lingered, faint but clear. Loneliness, sadness, but beneath that, something else. Hope. He took one last breath and stepped into the stolen shuttle. It wasn't a military craft. It wasn't even fast, but it could jump, and that was enough. He left behind his cadet ID, his rank, his future, and followed a trail only his heart could understand. The first stop was Solstice Station, a small outpost near the Andorran Belt. There he showed the vial to an old Yarrow merchant. The elder sniffed the air once and nodded. "She is young," the merchant said, "afraid, but her scent tells me she is looking for belonging. She passed through here." Ethan leaned forward. "Where did she go?" "She boarded a freighter, headed toward the drift zones." "That's deep space," Ethan said. The Ural nodded. "Sometimes, the lost must go farther to feel found." The next stop was worse. Drift Station 9. Dark, cold, built into the bones of an ancient asteroid. A place for smugglers, exiles, and secrets. Ethan walked through its metal corridors, his boots echoing in the silence. He was not welcome here, but he asked anyway. One trader remembered a violet-skinned girl, said she paid with rare stones, said. She asked about Ural sanctuaries. "But why would a Ural want to go home?" the trader asked. "Aren't they the ones who left it behind?" Ethan didn't answer, because he understood now. Syria wasn't running from danger. She was running from being misunderstood, and the only place she could feel safe was among her own kind. After 2 more jumps, 2 more broken engines, and nearly being robbed, Ethan reached Hello's Gate, a small moon orbiting a dead planet, home to only one thing, a hidden Ural sanctuary. He climbed the cliffs alone, his oxygen tank low, his legs shaking, every step harder than the last. But he didn't stop at the top. He saw the sanctuary, a structure grown from living stone, glowing. Vines wrapped around its spires, soft lights pulsed from within, and standing at its entrance ... was her, Syria, wrapped in a flowing Ural cloak, her hair floating gently around her shoulders. She looked different, stronger, calmer, but when she saw him, her breath caught. "Ethan." He stepped forward, weak but smiling. "You left without saying goodbye," he said. "I thought it would hurt less," she replied. "It didn't." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Syria spoke. "I didn't think you'd come. I would have crossed galaxies," he said. "And I did." She looked down. Her hands trembled. "I thought, if I went far enough, I'd forget you. Did you?" She shook her head. "No." Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out the memory vial. "You left this." She took it gently, her fingers brushing his. Then she looked up. "You risked everything. Why?" He stepped closer. "Because you showed me what love feels like. Not just in scent, not just in memory, but in the silence between us." Tears welled in her eyes. She dropped the vial. It shattered on the stone, and the air filled with their shared memory. Not sadness, but joy, laughter, warmth, belonging, home. She fell into his arms, and for the first time in her life, Syria felt something she had never known before safe. But as the sun rose behind the sanctuary cliffs, a dark ship drifted into orbit, unmarked, silent, watching. They had tracked the broken Academy shuttle. They had found Ethan, and they knew what he and Syria had become. Not just students, not just lovers, but a threat. The year-old sanctuary glowed with a living light. Vines pulsed softly beneath the stone floor. Walls shimmered with colors that weren't just decoration, they were alive. Like veins of emotion woven through the building itself. Syria walked slowly, beside Ethan, guiding him deeper into the heart of her people's history. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered, but her voice held no anger, only fear. "I had to," Ethan replied. "I didn't come for the academy, or to prove anything. I came for you." She looked away. "If they find you here, they already have." Syria stopped. Ethan nodded, toward the sky. "I saw a ship arrive. No markings. It's watching." Her eyes narrowed. "The council. You think they're here because of us?" "I know they are." They entered the memory chamber. A round, echoing hall filled with thousands of glowing orbs, suspended in air like stars in a frozen sky. Each one held a memory, some ancient, some forbidden. Syria reached for one. It glowed golden in her hand. "My people once lived on Earth," she said. Ethan stared at her. "What?" She nodded. "Thousands of years ago, long before your species learned to write. We walked the same forests. We breathed the same air." The orb flared with light, and suddenly, Ethan saw it. Through Syria's memory, he witnessed Earth. From the past, a year-old child, playing beside a human boy. Laughter in the wind. Flowers blooming across a quiet field. "They called us spirit folk," Syria said. "Your ancestors thought we were gods, but we were just ... visitors. Why did you leave?" She held the orb tighter. "Because your people began to forget, and fear what they couldn't understand." Ethan looked around at the floating memories. "And now, we've met again." "Not by chance," she said. "Your scent, your memory. It wasn't just familiar because I copied it. It was familiar because it was already inside me. I don't understand." Syria turned to face him. "Our ancestors were bonded once. You're all inhuman. A connection so deep, it survived in our blood, in our emotions, in our instincts. I felt it the moment you sat beside me." Ethan's voice was quiet. "Then we were never strangers." "No," she whispered. "We were always meant to find each other." They stood in the center of the chamber, surrounded by history, by love, by loss, and then the sanctuary trembled. A warning light pulsed through the floor. Syria's eyes widened. "They're landing." Ethan stepped forward. "Then let's talk to them." "You don't understand," she said. "They fear change. They fear humans. They'll erase everything just to keep this bond from growing. But they can't erase us," Ethan said. "They can," Syria replied. "And they have." He grabbed her hand. "Not this time." She looked down at their fingers, entwined, then back up at him. "I won't lose you." "Then don't." Outside, the council's ship descended slowly onto the cliffs. Tall figures in dark robes stepped forward. Their faces were hidden behind silver masks, their eyes glowing beneath the metal. One of them spoke without moving his mouth. "Human, you are trespassing on sacred ground." Ethan stepped in front of Syria. "She's not a threat. Neither am I. You have formed a forbidden bond. Such connections have caused collapse before. War, death. We aren't a threat," Ethan said. "We're a beginning. You have corrupted her." "No," Syria said, stepping forward. Her voice shook, but it was strong. "He healed me. When I was drowning in fear, he gave me something my own people never could. Hope." The council figure paused, then raised his hand. A wave of energy slammed into Ethan's chest. He dropped to his knees, gasping. "No!" Syria screamed. Color exploded from her skin, rippling out in golden waves. The ground shook. The memory chamber behind them lit up with 1,000 memories at once. Human and Euro laughter, touch, shared dreams, shared pain. The past was awakening. A second wave of light burst from Syria's chest. This time, it didn't hurt Ethan. It healed him. He stood slowly, eyes glowing with the same golden light. The council members stepped back. "This bond is not destruction," Syria said. "It is evolution." The head of the council lowered his hand, and for a long, silent moment, nothing moved. Then he spoke again. "If you continue this path, you must face the stars together, as one." Ethan reached out. Syria took his hand, and the golden light around them burst like dawn breaking across a dark world. Together, they turned toward the stars, not running, not hiding, but walking forward, as something new, as something ancient, as something powerful enough to change everything. The golden light faded slowly. Ethan and Syria stood in the center of the sanctuary, their hands still joined. The air around them hummed with something new, something ancient, something alive. The Ural Council had said nothing else. They had left without another word. No punishment, no exile, only a warning. If you continue this path, the galaxy will change. They meant it as a threat, but to Ethan and to Syria, it sounded like a promise. Back at the academy, things were different now. News had spread quickly. A human and a Ural had bonded in a way no one thought possible. Beyond scent, beyond memory. Something deeper. Something shared through will, through trust, through love. Most students didn't understand it. Some still whispered behind their backs, but others began to ask. Questions began to listen, began to wonder. What if this was the beginning of something new? What if connection didn't have to be defined by species? What if real love could shape the future? In the weeks that followed, Ethan and Syria returned, not as outcasts, but as examples. They led joint seminars, shared their story openly, let others experience their memories through carefully offered vials. Some cried, some laughed, some simply sat in silence, overwhelmed by what they felt. The academy began to shift. Walls came down, and not just between humans and Ural, other species, once isolated in their own corners of the galaxy, started to open up too, all because one human boy sat beside a girl no one else would even look at. One evening, as the twin moons rose above the academy's sky garden, Syria stood barefoot on the soft grass. The scent of wild earth flowers lingered around her, drifting naturally now, no longer forced, no longer misunderstood. Ethan approached from behind, wrapping a soft gray shawl around her shoulders. "It's cold tonight," he said. "I like the cold," she replied. "Me too." They sat together beneath the stars. No words were needed, but then Syria turned and asked, "Do you ever regret it? Leaving the academy? Breaking every rule? Risking everything for you?" She raised an eyebrow, smiling softly. Ethan shook his head. Not even for a second. She looked away again, gazing up at the stars. "I dreamed of peace, once, but I never thought I would find it in a human, and I never thought I'd fall in love with someone who sees the world through scent and memory," Ethan said, laughing, gently. Syria leaned into him. "But you did, and I do." Years passed. Ethan and Syria became ambassadors for a new alliance between humanity and the Ural. They helped rewrite laws, trained new cadets, told their story to anyone willing to listen. Many still resisted. Some still feared the unknown, but fear no longer controlled the stars, because someone had chosen to love where others chose to hate. Someone had dared to cross the distance between species. Not with war, but with understanding. On the day they retired, a statue was placed in the heart of the academy. Two figures standing side by side, one human, one Ural beneath it. A simple plaque engraved with words spoken long ago. Love, in any form, is not defined by species. It's defined by the soul that dares to reach across the stars. And in the end, that's exactly what they did. Together. They changed the stars.